All right, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here in person and online. Tonight's talk is relaxation techniques. Um, we're going to go through the different concepts, some basic stuff on stress, and then get into actual techniques we can use to relax our body. And at the end, think about different individuals that may be suffering and you don't even know it because the way they're showing that they're suffering is considered quite normal by a lot of people. So we'll get into that. So first off, I have an open question for everybody, and that is, and if you play along, it'd be very greatly appreciated. When you are stressed, where do you feel it? When you're really stressed out, like it's the worst day ever, where do we feel it in our body or our brain? So we've heard chest, we've heard neck.
Between the shoulder blades.
Between shoulder blades. Any ideas?
Where would you feel stress? You're stressed. You have a place where you feel it. My head.
So we got head. So these are very common. So we're hearing some physical ones like upper neck, chest. We can also see things like racing thoughts or anxiety, chest tension, back tension, and then we'll also see clenching of the fists, clenching of the jaw, as well as I commonly see tension in the eyebrows. And a lot of people aren't aware of that tension in the back, but as we mentioned here, we'll see that. Those are all that fight or flight or stress response, that sympathetic tone that our body needs to protect instinct that comes up. And what we need to be aware of is that in those different stressors, they can drive that response. And when I say stressors, we want to understand that there is physical, chemical, and emotional. So if those stressors, if we have physical stress, that can be something as simple as sitting. So most people aren't aware that when you sit, it actually puts more stress on your low back than when you stand. So let's say standing is 100% or like equal. When you sit, you're at 150. And then when you bend over, it's even more. So sitting is worse for our low back and our neck because most people don't sit perfectly. They're going to be slouched over doing whatever they're going to be doing. That puts a lot of stress on the neck, the low back. And if we do that long enough, we can actually deform or change the ligaments in our spine. This was the technique that I originally went after, which was structural related. And that was trying to help change the ligaments through repetitive stretching and repetitive motions. And what I found is that if we change the brain, we still may need to change the ligaments, but it's a lot easier when you change the brain and the muscles follow than trying to force it into position. When the muscles do get strong because the brain's working correctly, then the ligaments may need a little help, but the change will happen very, very quickly and the longevity will actually be there. So that's such things as physical. And then there's falls and trips and so forth. There's also chemical stress. And most people don't think about, well, what do you mean a chemical stress or a smell or something like that could cause me to go into tension? Yes. So we can see that if you're really sensitive, being exposed to certain perfumes or smells can induce migraines. And that's a stress response. That's decreased blood flow into your brain, and that can cause a headache. You're going to that fight or flight, and your body has learned that when it's exposed to that chemical, it wants to decrease less of that chemical ability to get to the brain. And so it'll actually shut off the blood from the neck into the brain, and then you'll have that migraine show up. And then there's emotional stress. This one is either you're going to see the person is 100% on board saying, yes, emotional stress causes problems, or no, it has no bearing on me at all. And they're kind of checked out and don't understand. And when we see this, we need to understand that the average person who comes in for, say, low back pain, 90% of the time, it's the emotional stress that they're dealing with that's causing the imbalance. It's not them picking up the pencil that caused the issue. It's the fact that they have a job issue, a kid problem, a spouse problem, a house problem, whatever. It's those things that's actually driving the underlying issue. All of those, physical, chemical, and emotional, will cause your body to go into fight or flight. And what we need to understand is that fight or flight or protective mechanism is the same no matter if it's physical or chemical or emotional. That means your body responds the exact same way if somebody hits you in the face as to you smelling gasoline. And if you're exposed to it long enough, you will literally have the same response. This is where we have a lot of disconnect, because a lot of people are like, well, there's no way I could get an autoimmune or a cancer from somebody repeatedly saying mean things to you. No, that literally can't happen. Or being exposed to chronic mold. And mold's coming out. A lot of people are actually starting to understand that mold is very, very toxic and has been linked to multiple things, from everything from autoimmune to cancers to heart disease to all of these things, because our body has a hard time processing it out if we don't have the right chemicals in our body that we make, such as like glutathione or antioxidants, to be able to get the toxins out. And at worst, you could also have things where you start overreacting to the environment. Now you start getting autoimmune, or you start getting chemical intolerances, where you literally start having flashes or flares when you're exposed to different things. Other aspects of the stress response that are easy for us to see and easier for us to tell if a friend or family member is stressed out is with the handshake. So when you see them, is their hand sweaty or is their hand dry? If it's really sweaty, it tells you they're in an acute short-term stress response, specifically emotional. If it's dry and they're always having to put lotion on, that means chronic long-term emotional stress response. If their hands are cold, that also is a way to tell. If their hands are cold, it tells us they're in a protective state as well. And it's more than how I feel. This is the physiology of stress. So if we have cold, dry hands, we got a problem going on. And then you compare that with cold, dry hands, and now your pupils are big, we got a really big problem going on. And so you start compiling up all the information to figure out where's the friend or family member really at. So you see them at business, whatever, you shake somebody's hand, and it actually is a good indication, and most people aren't with it, but when you do it, you can actually see who you're dealing with. Their hand is cold and clammy and big eyes. You know you got somebody who's a loose cannon in front of you. Their hands are warm, a little bit of moisture, and small pupils. You know that person is very adaptive and you can deal with them very easily. So how does this work for you? When you're dealing with a friend or family member and you're looking them in the eyes, how big are their pupils? If they're really big, we know we got a problem. It might be that you're saying stuff they can't understand, so their left side will get really big. The left side. Or they're emotionally stressed, the right side. You know you got a big problem when they're imbalanced. It's either they have a like Horner's or a crazy weird neurological issue, which isn't very common, or their brain is so imbalanced that one side is a lot bigger than the other and it's overworking. So we'll commonly see this in like autoimmune or psychological issues. So that's an easy way for you to see who's in front of me. What am I actually dealing with? And this can all be done in a second. Look at their pupils, shake their hand, you know who you're dealing with. Cold, clammy, big eyes. We got somebody in front of us who can be having some issues, and you can see this. So now the next time you see your friend and you look at them and they're like, yeah, I'm fine. You go, no, I can tell that you're not fine. How about we really, really talk about something now? Or you're fine? Yeah, I can see you are fine. And your body's actually telling me. The other ones we see, and everybody is quite aware of this, if we ask them, if somebody walks into the room like this, they're usually in a calm state. If they walk into a room like this, they're in a protective state. Because your posture tells me if you are protective or not. Because if you're trying to protect yourself, you're trying to protect your organs. If you're really stressed out, you cover your arms, you cover your chest, you pull up, and you're protecting yourself. You're protecting the most vital points of your body. So these are other ways to tell of what's going on. So we understand that. Now we understand there are some techniques that we may want to use or teach a friend or family member that can help them relax. With these techniques, they are not merely just a luxury. They're actually a way to help you shift your nerve system so that it can be relaxed for longer periods of time. So with all of this, we want to get you to operate correctly. So when we look at this, and I'm going to give you a basic understanding of this, when we look at the brain, the more you operate in this region, which is midbrain, brainstem, the more stressed you are. The more you operate in frontal lobe, cerebellum, the more relaxed you are. So frontal lobe inhibits from the top down, that midbrain, that brainstem. Cerebellum inhibits from the bottom up, the midbrain, cerebellum, or the midbrain and brainstem. And so we've all experienced this. I'm really, really stressed out. What do you need to do? Mom says, go for a walk. Mom's a genius. Going for a walk actually activates both of these areas. And if you go for a walk with somebody else, when you're walking, what do you inherently do? Talk about something, which activates frontal lobe. So you're stimulating cerebellum and frontal lobe at the same time. And when you walk, you do more than that. It actually activates all the brain. But the two major areas that will inhibit, it stimulates that. Yes, sir.
About people who walk but have the earbuds and things like that.
So if they're walking and have the earbuds in, as long as what they're listening to is not stressful, it's positive. But understand that when you're doing that, you're ingraining whatever thought process you're being listening to into your mind. So I'll give you an example of what happened for me. I used to listen to a very specific song every time I would run when I was training for hockey. And so whenever I hear that song, my body goes into fight or flight because that song is directly correlated to me being in a fight or flight state of running. And so it was a very specific song. I don't even remember the name of it, but the lyrics, literally, as soon as I hear it, my hands get sweaty, my muscles get tight. So you can have that correlation, just like a Pavlovian response, where your body knows this equals this. So the same thing can happen where you can correlate this equals this, where it can be the color of somebody's hair, the shape of a body, the smell of a perfume. And this is how PTSD happens, because your body has correlated this trauma or whatever with this stimuli. Your body's just trying to make ideas or meaning out of it. When this stimuli happens, this is what causes it, so stay away from this. It could be pointy shoes, not pointy shoes, whatever. It can be anything. And this is why people can get triggered by songs or smells. Usually smells because they're very limbic or emotionally triggering for you, and they can make you go into that stress response very quickly. This is how what do you call it? Smell therapy, aromatherapy works. Is the nose directly goes right into the brain. It doesn't have to bypass through any other part. Wherever all the other senses will have to get stimulated or bypass through different areas. So that's why when you smell it, you can limbically or emotionally be triggered very easily. That make sense? So that's how the aroma works. Is it doesn't have to go through the brainstem and wrap around. It goes directly right in and triggers. So let's look at one of these techniques. The one that I'm going to start on is actually going to be tapping. So when we look at tapping or emotional freedom technique, what we want to understand is when we're doing this, we want to be tapping. And when we're doing it, we want to be tapping and thinking and feeling the emotion as deeply as possible. So if it's, I am angry, I feel grief, I feel stress, whatever it is, stress isn't as easy, anger isn't as easy. You want to tap into what it is. So when you talk to therapists, they'll say, well, men just use anger to represent every emotion that isn't good. So anger is scared. Anger is fear. Anger is resentment. Anger is insecurity. Anger is all of these things. So you usually want to get past anger if you can and tap into, I feel insecure. Okay, so I'm feeling insecure, let's say, and then we're going to go through the mechanism of tapping. And when we do this, what we're actually doing is we're using a somatic response, a physical response that our body has. By doing this, we're going to be stimulating cerebellum, frontal lobe, specifically motor cortex. And when that works correctly, we can short circuit that emotional trigger. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to tap, and you start this by tapping the side of your hand, and you're going to do that 3 to 5 times. And then you do the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like 5. And then we're going to go to number 2 and 3. And this is going to be the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the key with all of this is, and we'll keep going, is to be very ingrained into that emotion or feeling. The same thing can be akin to, there's a technique I learned psychologically where a lot of people can get chronic headaches, but it's because they have emotions they haven't dealt with. And so you can have somebody who has a headache, and if you make the headache have color, shape, and size, it will actually make the headache go away, because now your body has put color, shape, and size to this feeling, and now it can't be a headache because it's a green ball or a whatever it is. So the next area we're going to look at, and if you want any of these things, all the ones I'm showing you here for relaxation techniques, we have them here. So you just ask the ladies if you want the EFT or the tapping one, they'll show you that. So we did the inside of the eyes. Now we're going to do the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do under the eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do under the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is interesting because this is actually your governing vessel right here. And then we're going to do under the chin. So right under it, not on it, but under the lip. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Then we're going to go right on the collarbone. So we will find it. And we're just going to be tapping right where the inside of it is. So you want to be right in the middle where the bump is. I'll be right here. So we're going to be looking right here, here and here. Yep, you're good, you're good. Yep, perfect. And then we're going to want to be going armpit about 4 inches down. So take your hand, make a, put all the fingers down, and then that's where you're going to be tapping. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll do the other side. 1, 2, 3. Now, when that is done in conjunction or at the same time as having an emotional trigger that's there, it'll actually help you start processing. Yes, sir.
You have us do that sequential way?
Yeah, so the order I showed you is the order we want to do it, but you want to be able to stay in that emotion and try to be there as long as possible. As you do it, it'll start decreasing. So that emotion of fear or guilt or whatever it is, and I obviously said fear, but you want to go into a little deeper, that will actually start dissipating and you'll start working through it. So when you're really triggered, this is a way to help you move through that emotion, to help you actually get through it. So if it's like anxiety, depression, things like that, sleep, this is a way to help you move through it. Like angst, I'm not sure what to do. This is a way to help you actually process through that emotional triggers that we see. And it works very quite well. So that's one of the techniques that a lot of therapists will actually use with their clientele to help them move through. So the next one we're going to do is we're going to go into more physical. And I'm going to actually have you integrate 2 at the same time. One is called autogenic muscle relaxation, and one is called progressive muscle relaxation. And we're going to do both of them at the same time. So what we're going to do is we are going to start at either the top of the head or at our feet. Where would you guys like to start? Head? Okay, so we'll start at the top of the head. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the top of the head, and we're going to feel. So I'm just showing you this. We're not actually going to put our hands up there. We're going to feel our head, and feel if there's any tension up there. So you want to feel your head and go, okay, if I'm feeling tension here, you're just going to say, you're going to focus your attention and you're going to say relax until you start feeling it relaxing. And if you're like, doc, this isn't working, then what you're going to do is the next one. And the next technique is to squeeze that part of your head as tight as you can. And you're going to hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. And then you're going to go to the next area. So let's say jaw. A lot of people, or did we do eyebrows? No, let's do eyebrows. So we're going to do eyebrows right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell them to relax, and just focus on that part of your brain relaxing, or your body relaxing. If that doesn't work, then what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze your eyebrows as tight as possible, or pick them up as tight as possible for 5 seconds, and then relax. The face is a little harder. When we get to the lower body, it's a lot easier. Now we're going to move to the jaw. A lot of people have it here. So what we're going to do is we are going to visualize and feel our jaw relaxing. There we go. And if that doesn't work, we're going to squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax. Now we're going to move to our neck. Feel it relaxing. And then we're going to pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And relax. Now we're going to go to where I know I hold my tension. It's here, but mine's a lot of my hands. And I think it's because I use my hands all day. So we're actually going to start with our shoulders. We're going to make them tight. Shoulders and arms. We're just going to make them tight as can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to feel them relax, visualizing them relax. Yeah, that feels really good. Now we're going to come into our hands, squeeze them as tight as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then relax, and then visualizing them relax. And what I want you to do now is see how the tension in your head, your shoulders, and your arms feel in comparison to the tension in your lower body. So for me, it feels a lot looser. We haven't got to the abdomen yet, but it feels a lot looser in my extremities than my lower body. And what you're doing is you're forcing your frontal lobe to take control, because it can literally control any part of your body, your executive center. And you're reminding it, and you're also making it really tight, and then it will relax. We commonly have this low grade 3 to 5 tension that is causing us to get stressed. But when we really tighten it and relax it, we do better. That's why when you go to the gym and you really, really move those muscles, all the tension goes away because you completely overuse them and they have to relax. So now let's do abdomen. We're going to squeeze as tight as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to visualize relaxing. Good. Now we're going to also now do our buttocks. We're going to squeeze our buttocks as tight as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to visualize it relaxing. Good. Now we're going to do our quads. Squeeze them as tight as we can. 3, 4, 5. And then visualize them relaxing. Good. And then our calves, we may need to push up to get that to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then relaxing. Now for me, besides my hands that feel really good right now, the bottoms of my feet really do that a lot. So you want to squeeze them really tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And then visualize or feel them. There we go. Feel them relaxing. So that's very easy and calming for your body. The tapping is very easy and calming for your brain. So using those 2 techniques, and I actually taught you 3 there. So the squeeze and relax is autogenic, and the progressive muscle is the visualization. If you have problems with it, do the tight and relax first, and then the visualization if you want to get a lot in, or you can just do one of the either. And if it's a lot of it is mental, you can go for a walk and then do the tapping, and that will help you relax. Yes, sir.
How about when you're driving?
So the question is, when you're driving, how do you relax?
Yeah. Tension on the road and tires.
You pull over and do exactly what I told you. If that doesn't work, you can always cheat and use that vagal nerve stimulator that we were talking about, where you put it in that left ear and it will help relax you. Obviously, you can use some music, binaural beats. There's some different things like that you could use when you're driving. It depends on, are we driving long distances or short distances? But so is it a long or short distance? So short distances, is it the driver in front of you is making you feel stressed out, or is it something you're thinking about?
No, think about trying to make traffic flow.
Trying to make flow with the traffic or something? So what I would say is just, is it a time constraint?
Could be a thing.
Because if it's a time constraint, that's different than I need to succeed. It's a lot. It was very liberating for me to understand that I can actually slow down and get in just as much as I can speed up and get in. And the slow down usually works better. So understanding that I don't have to actually do it the way, that exact way, and being more like, oh, it's okay, you can go in front, everything's fine. And being released of the fact that you have to succeed or produce makes it a lot easier. That's just a psychological component. Listening to certain music or tones can help you. Like I was saying, binaural beats. The diaphragmatic breathing is probably going to be your best bet, though. So I never got into that. And you can use either breathe in and breathe out at a ratio of breathing in for half as long as you breathe out. So breathing out twice as long as you breathe in. If you're like, I can't do that, then do the square breathing. We breathe in, say for 4, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 3, 4, hold for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in. And do that as well. That can help you, but that's one of the best ones if you can't do one of these physical things, is control your breathing, because you can do that while you're driving as well. So what I wanted to bring up is that in our culture, we think that, well, our culture, I've seen, thinks that self-medicating is completely normal. And I need you to understand, it's usually, and when I say self-medicating, I'm talking alcohol, marijuana, screen time, different things like that. They're seen as common, but they're not normal. These techniques are the things that can help with these people so they can relax and not need those substances. So if you have a friend or family member who always needs a couple drinks or needs a puff or needs to always be watching TV, these are techniques that can actually help them so they don't need that stimulation as much. And think of it. So like, I can give you an example. We've had quite a few people that literally, they weren't able to relax, and then they turned to alcohol. And then alcohol turned into something stronger and stronger and stronger because they weren't able to relax themselves, so they needed a checkout. They needed a dopamine hit. And that's scary, because that just keeps progressing along and can turn into very dangerous facets. So if you have a friend or family member who always needs a drink to check out, or needs to smoke, or needs food, or needs screen time, this is a really empowering technique. Any one of these 3 that we've taught you, that can help them. And just take a little time, and it can literally relax them and get them into a state where they can be better. So think of a friend or family member who always needs a drink after work. This can be a life changer for them. And if they want to take the next step, you can let them know we have our patient appreciation week next week. I think we only have 1 spot left, though. And that's, if I remember correctly, at Tuesday at 3. All the rest of the spots are filled up. So if that person comes to mind and you really want to help them, that's that PAD, that really good deal that we offer. If you guys don't have any other questions, I want to thank you for being here. Take that step and be that light for somebody else. Teach them one of these things. It's really easy. If it really worked for you, just tell them, this worked for me. There's no pressure, but just try it out and see what happens. So thank you, and have a blessed night.
Thank you, Doc.